So I'm gonna just kind of analyzing this whole case with the United States versus Combs, this whole case against Diddy. And realistically, I'm looking at it from the outside looking in, but from what I'm seeing is that the government only has one primary witness or one key witness, and that one key witness is their one key victim, their one main victim, and that's Cassandra Ventura. They are basing this whole case, or they have built this whole case around Cassie's civil suit. Um, and I will not deny, I will admit that Cassie she presented a strong case against Diddy, especially with the videotape. But we have to look at it, the public, with very limited legal knowledge and expertise, and we don't know, the inner workings of that relationship and how toxic it really was. You got to look at it from all sides, and you have to recognize, or you have to realize that that relationship was dysfunctional from the start with Cassie and Puffy. And I call him Puffy because I remember, I'm at the age, I remember when Diddy was called Puffy, when he came out in the early 90s, mid 90s, and, from the mid 90s to like the mid 2010s. He's had a long career, but I remember when he was just Puffy, Sean Puffy Combs. But that relationship started out wrong because this young lady, Cassie, we're going to look at Cassie. This is not about blaming the victim, but you got to look at her, and understand what her motivations were for staying in that relationship, for even getting involved in the relationship, and all of that stuff. You have to examine her intentions, her motives, and her actions before, during, and after this relationship that lasted for well over a decade. So I think that with this whole lawsuit with Cassie, I think really, honestly, I'm going to be honest with y'all, what really put the battery in her back with this lawsuit was her husband, because she stayed in that relationship with Diddy for many years. They met because, she was a young, marginally talented singer. She's drop dead gorgeous, and she could have made it in the industry just off looks alone. But, she was not very talented. Let's just keep it all the way real. She was not talented. But she was beautiful, drop dead gorgeous. And so she started out, just reading from her Wikipedia, she started out as a teen model. She grew up in a pretty stable home, multiracial, racially ambiguous home. She's from Connecticut, I believe, and she was a teen model starting out. She graduated high school in 2004 and immediately went to New York to embark on a career in the entertainment industry. She's lucky enough, she met up with Ryan Leslie, who was a music producer 8 years older than her. She met up with Ryan Leslie, got signed, to his record company. What's it called? Next Selection Entertainment or something like that. This was in 2004. She's fresh out of high school now, and she's already got a deal. She went to New York, immediately got a deal because she's beautiful. She began dating Mr. Leslie, and they began making music together. So they had a personal and professional relationship. This is a man, he's a producer, 8 years older than her, put her on. 2 years later, they somehow during the course of that relationship, they decided to hook up with Sean Puffy Combs, who was now the CEO and president of Bad Boy Records, of Bad Boy Entertainment. At the time that Cassie and Ryan met Puffy was very successful, extremely successful. He was one of the top producers, if not the top producer, in the entire music, African American music industry, black music industry, if not the entire music industry. That's how big Puffy was when they met him, at the time that they met him. This was after Biggie, after Mary J. Blige, after Jodeci, after Heavy D, after all of them. This is when Cassie became familiar, or this is when she was introduced to Puffy. Puffy had already had all of that success under his belt at the time that Cassie met him. So he was very big in the industry. He was big in the game. So she dumped Ryan Leslie. You know, she had the one hit song that she had, Me and You, in which her image, you know, when they marketed her and promoted her for that song, Me and You, that was a very sexual song. She was behaving in a very, you know, she was selling sex. She had a sexy image, you know, and it was kind of like a strip club song, or, you know, a very raunchy song. The video was very raunchy. It was very sexual. And so she met Diddy. They pushed that single. I think it went platinum, and she made a name for herself. But when it came time for her to perform live, you know, they realized that Cassie didn't have it. The only thing Cassie had was looks. So Puffy probably saw that as a producer, that, man, you know, she's not all that talented, but she's beautiful. He was enamored with her, fell in love with her, or in deep lust with her. He was infatuated with her. This young, beautiful woman. You know, she's dancing, you know, she's selling this sexual image and all this stuff. And Puffy, being the older simp that he is, he fell for her. He fell hard for her. And that's what started their relationship. Puffy was involved with several women at the time he got into the relationship with Cassie. And Cassie knew that. But you have to realize, everybody has to realize that any young woman, any female going into that industry, got to know what they're signing up for. Now, Cassie was already with Ryan Leslie, so she knew what she wanted out of the entertainment industry, and she knew what it was going to take for her to succeed in that industry. And then when she got with Puffy, you pretty much know what you're signing up for. You're not gullible and naive. Let's keep it all the way real. Cassie was not a victim. She was not the victim all the time in all of this. A lot of this was, you know, a lot of the things that she went through was because she wanted to go through this. Because she chose to go. She made the choice to go through those experiences in exchange for the lifestyle that Sean Diddy Combs provided her. Okay, let's keep it all the way real. So when she was younger, she met him. I think they said she's like 19, and he was in his 30s or something when they met. Because it's probably like, let me see, Puffy's 55, and she's 38. There's like 16, 17 year difference, age difference in between them two. He's old enough to be her father. And so, she left Ryan Leslie for greener pastures with Sean Combs. And, you know, she had the one hit wonder, but they realized that, you know, she didn't have it to be no major superstar. She just didn't have it. Like J-Lo, you know, J-Lo, she knew how to dance. You know, she had a little acting abilities and stuff to, you know, make her the star that she was. But Cassie just didn't have it. Cassie just had drop dead looks, gorgeous looks. And so Diddy decided that, you know what, I'm going to make her my arm candy. And that's what he did. This is this is a multi-millionaire man with all the wealth, the fame, and the fortune that anyone could ask for or want in life. And here's this beautiful woman, beautiful young woman, you know, in front of me, looking for a record deal and seeking out fame and fortune. I'm going to give her just what she wants. And that's what he did. Did she ever love him? No, I don't believe for once that she loved Puffy. Did he love her? love is a very strong word, and love is just, I don't know. I don't know. Infatuated, deeply infatuated and possessive of her and jealous of her? Yes. Love? Mm, in heavy lust. I don't know about love. Uh, in love at one time, yeah, maybe until it wore off. But he didn't love her enough to make her his wife. Cassie, pretty much in her complaint, she's telling the truth about her feelings, her true feelings about Diddy the whole time that from the time she met him to the time that they ended their relationship. She loved what he could do for her. She loved the opportunities and the opulent lifestyle that he provided for her. And I'm quite sure during the decade long relationship that she had with him, Puffy blew bags. He blew millions. One of his, who was it, Shine just recently said in an interview that he saw Puffy spend $500,000 on a shopping spree with Cassie in one day. So over the course of that relationship, Cassie had access to millions of dollars, millions millions, millions of dollars worth of gifts and cars and houses and things. She lived a very opulent lifestyle when she was with him. And no, it was not out of love. She loved what he provided, what he did for her. She did not, I don't think for 1 minute, she loved him for who he was or who he is. She didn't love his kids. She was just there, just for the opportunities and the money. And one way that I think he kept control over her is that he would promise her, I'll put you in this movie, or we're going to put out this album, and we're going to do this, we're going to do that. He kept making promises, as far as, with her career. He's going to take her career to the next level, but he never delivered on that promise because it was a carrot. He was stringing her along the whole time. And all that time throughout that relationship, Cassie knew she was not the only one. Cassie knew that Puffy was not monogamous and fully committed and loyal only to her. There were other women that he expressed love for, that he was, out in public with, especially his kid's mother, Kim Porter. Now, if he ever loved any woman in his life, Kim Porter was the one that I think he really, truly loved. As a friend, as a lover, as a sister, as a mother, as an everything. She was everything. She was the embodiment of love as far as in a male-female relationship. And I think that if he loved any of those women, it was Kim Porter. And when he lost her, that devastated him. But anyway, Cassie, she played the background for many years in that relationship, in her relationship with Puffy, because Kim Porter was there in that, he was still dealing with her. So Cassie played the background for a few years to Kim. But then when Kim broke up with him for good, not broke up, but they were still dealing with each other, but I think when Kim decided to just go ahead and officially end the relationship and just kind of be friends with benefits with him, that's when Cassie moved up into the number one slot. That's a better way of describing it. When Kim gave up her number one slot, Cassie was promoted to the number one slot. So, but there was always infidelity. There was always domestic violence. Yes, I do believe that there was a financial exploitation and control on Diddy's part against Cassie. Yes, I absolutely do believe that. There was domestic violence. I absolutely believe that. But there have also been stories or accounts given by former employees of Diddy, former bodyguards that said that he wasn't always the aggressor in those cases. And I've heard and I've watched in different interviews where bodyguards have gave interviews saying that Cassie was the one that threw the first punch. Now Cassie has admitted that she indulged in drug use, drinking, alcohol and drug use, and she had a drug habit, so she's saying, in her complaint that he made me take drugs. He didn't make you take anything. You took the drugs. You may have, just wanted to experiment with the drugs and get high or whatever, caught up in the moment, and you took the drugs willingly. I don't believe he forced anything down. He didn't force you to take any drugs. Let's just keep it all the way real. Cassie was not forced to take anything. She may have used it as a coping mechanism later on down the line to deal with everything that she was going through in her relationship, in her toxic relationship. And I do believe that it was toxic on both ends because there was no real love involved in that relationship. The power dynamic couldn't make it possible for a genuine love relationship to exist between these two. So a man, way older with more money and power and influence, and then with this young lady, there could not be a genuine love relationship in that there was no genuine love. It couldn't be. I don't see how it could have been because the power dynamics were too unequal. But I'm not attacking Cassie, but I just realized that you can't just point the fingers one way and not take some type of responsibility yourself. And my thing is this: you willingly went into that situation knowing that this man had multiple women, he had children by other women, you knew his lifestyle, you knew he got drunk, you knew he got high, but you saw an opportunity, you saw a lifestyle, and you went after it willingly. You signed up for that. And you have to take the good and with the bad when you sign up for something like that. And you got to deal with all those vices that come along with that individual. And so Cassie partook in a lot of the activities out of obligation, out of taking advantage of the opportunities. She did it to remain in the lifestyle. There have been times that they've said that they have broken up. She was allowed to leave. She was allowed to go into other relationships. She even said that she went and had a relationship with Kid Cudi, where she claims that, Puffy blew up the man's car. And as far as with that arson charge, that's his word against hers that he blew up the car. We have to see what the proof is about that, but she was not held prisoner, and I don't think that she was never allowed to leave. I believe that during the course of their relationship, it's like any other toxic relationship. She would leave, he would beg her to come back, she'd come back. She would leave, and she realized that no other man is going to be able to provide this lifestyle, and I don't have the ability to earn this type of money to provide this lifestyle for myself, so I better go back. Where else am I going to go? And I do believe that, he may have been the type of demanding, jealous lover, boyfriend, to where if she tried to leave, he would intimidate her and threaten her and tell her she better come back or else I'll destroy your career or whatever. But she did willingly go back. On a lot of occasions she went back willingly because of the lifestyle that Puffy provided for her. She had sex with other people as well. It wasn't just him having sex with other people. She was having sex with other people as well throughout the course of their relationship. Um, she would go and shop for the escorts or the other people. She would go and seek out the other people. So my whole thing is with this whole sex trafficking, prostitution thing. If Puffy is being held to this standard, why is it other rappers that live the same lifestyle, the similar lifestyle, being prosecuted and indicted for the things that they do? Because this is the standard rich, famous, wealthy celebrity lifestyle for a lot of them. This is normal in that culture. To have the wild parties, the wild drug orgies and things like that, that's normal. And as far as the type of women that these men involve themselves with, let's talk about the Daphne Joys and the Gina Huangs and the woman that he got the youngest baby by, and all of these other different women that has been associated with, that they're saying are sex workers. Men on Puffy's level are often surrounded by women, ladies of the night, escorts, prostitutes, strippers, women looking for an opportunity to get knocked up by a rich man, casting couch actresses, aspiring actresses, women looking to bag a rich, powerful man, women with unscrupulous motives. You're just going to be surrounded by those type of people. When you are at Puffy's level of fame and fortune, you have a huge target. You have a huge bullseye on your back. So, being surrounded by people such as Jonathan Audie, Daphne Joy, Gina Huang, and Dana Tran, and all these people, that's not unusual. That's not illegal. You're going to be surrounded by people who are going to be looking to benefit and gain from their association with you. Now, if I'm dating or if I'm screwing this person, and we're friends with benefits, we're not in a serious relationship, but I take this person out of town with me or out the country, and we have sex and we have wild orgies and we do drugs together and engage in all kind of debauchery, is that really sex trafficking? Or is that just us having a wild time together? Consenting adults, meeting out on the yacht, meeting in the mansion, having the mansion parties, and just having a wild time together. Is that really sex trafficking? No, I don't think so. I don't think that's sex trafficking, because if that's the case, indict all those rappers that indulge in that and fly strippers and escorts and whores out, when they go take a vacation or whatever, or go out of the country, or they go to Dubai and they have sex with these women, multiple women sometimes, multiple men, multiple orgies with drugs, and that's another thing about a rich person. When a rich person like Puffy throws a party, he's paying for everything. So all the drugs, the pills, the drinks, everything is flowing freely. So you can go to a Hollywood industry party thrown by a wealthy host and get as high as you want to for free. You can go into any room. You can get all the sex, the drugs, anything you want. Pick your vice, and there's, a room to accommodate it. That's how that industry and that world goes. So, to, indict Puffy for doing what is normal in that world, I think that's wrong. If that's the case, indict everybody. Bring charges against all of them that indulge in that type of behavior, not just that one person. So I think this case is weak, because also with these civil suits, it's so prejudicial against him in the criminal case, because there's no superseding indictment, and there was no original charge in the original indictment that has accused Puffy of messing with children. Not one. Where's the charge at? Where's the investigation? Where's the proof? Where's the probable cause? Where's the indictment? Where's the charge? None. There are none. As far as that accusation, those accusations with the minors, not one criminal charge. That's just their word against his. And they are hoping that all these people that are filing these cases and these shady lawyers, they're hoping that they get a Cassie outcome, and that Puffy gets so intimidated and so overwhelmed and exhausted with all these cases coming his way that he just settles with them and they get a quick settlement like Cassie did. But that's not going to be the case. If I was Puffy, you would have to prove your case against me. You're going to have to do some work. If you get a dime out of me, it's going to cost you. If I was Puffy, with all those civil cases, it's going to cost you. You're going to litigate the hell out of those cases. You're not just going to come and shake me down for no money. They're going to have to prove those cases. Cassie had proof when she had that videotape and, all the text evidence and things over the years throughout her relationship with Diddy. She had her proof, and that's why that case settled as fast as it did. But all these other people, where's their proof? They're going to have to come provide proof. And we're going to see how that goes, because a lot of those cases, once the fire gets under their feet and they have to present their case and present the evidence to support their claims, that's when you're going to see a lot of those cases fall off by the wayside. But yeah, I hope that, with the whole thing with Cassie, I think that that husband put the battery to her back, because I think once that relationship ended, because they said the relationship between her and Diddy ended in 2018. She married that man a year afterwards, her husband, and started having kids and everything. Now, if Puffy was the horrible, terrible stalker, intimidating bully that he was, how did all that happen? How did you run off with this personal trainer and get married and have kids if he was this horrible person, this horrible human being? It didn't happen. Let me tell y'all what happened is this. Once that relationship ended, because Puffy was not going to marry Cassie. He wasn't going to marry Kim Porter. He wasn't going to marry any of those women. And the reason why Puffy was not going to marry them is because Puffy has children by multiple women. And if he had married any one of those women, then that woman would have had control over Puffy's fortune. If not half of his fortune, his entire fortune. So Puffy having multiple children by multiple women, he didn't want to get married. My opinion is that I don't think he wanted to get married to any of those women because he didn't want to shut any of his children out. I think that when Puffy dies, he wants all of his money to equally go to his children, and not just, one woman and her kids by him, or one woman and that woman's family or whatever. That's why I think he did not want to get married and will not probably ever get married, because he wants his money to go to his children equally and not shut any of them out. So Cassie was wasting her time. When she realized that there was not going to be any wedding, any marriage, she moved on to her husband and created her own family and things like that. And I think down the line, she realized, and that husband realized, that I'm never going to be able to provide her with the lifestyle that she's accustomed to with him. I'm not going to be able to compete with the lifestyle that he provided her when she was with him. And she's now with me. And she's told me that he's done all of these things that she's ran through, had sex with all these men, had to participate in all these orgies. She got hooked on drugs and drinking, and she's got all these psychological problems, and she has an incurable STD. She has herpes. And Lord knows if she has anything else, but we know she has herpes. She has an incurable STD. She has drug and substance abuse disorder. She has psychological disorders. She's had sex with all these different sex workers and men and all these things. and nothing to show for it. He's married to her now, and he's thinking all these things, and he's seeing Puffy that is Puffy's a billionaire on the Forbes list, and you left this relationship with all this, and you have no money to show for it. Write a book, baby. You got to write a book. Send him a letter. Let him know that you're going to write a book. You're going to talk about, some of the things that you went through with him, because we need money. So he's a billionaire. You got to write a book, tell your story, and let him know that, you don't, if he don't want you to write the book, then send us $30 million, because it's not right. This man was thinking that there's no way that I am going to allow her to leave this relationship and be my wife while this man, this black man, is living like a billionaire. This black man is basically a billionaire. And she has just left out of this relationship with nothing but maybe some clothes and bags or something. So I think that husband put a strong battery into her back. And that's, he couldn't provide her with the lifestyle that Diddy provided her with. So that was the primary motivation of her getting, that money, that settlement from Puffy. What's going to happen is that I do believe that what's going to happen is that a few years down the line, Cassie and her husband will probably get divorced. And there's going to be a bitter, nasty divorce and a custody dispute if he doesn't just blow through her money. If that money is still there, there's going to be a bitter, nasty divorce and custody dispute over that money and over those children. Because that money is not, that's not going to be the glue that's going to hold them together. But I think that's what's going to happen. Is all of that. See, because when you do stuff for the wrong reasons, it usually does not turn out well. It doesn't work out well for anybody involved. And I think the primary purpose of them getting this money from Puffy was financial. To set their family up financially. And that husband is going to eventually leave and divorce Cassie after he has taken a lot of money from her and going to eventually go off and get with somebody else. That's what I think. So, in the meantime, if this case goes to trial, if this Diddy case goes to trial in May or, what time next year it goes to trial, Cassie's own reputation is going to get drugged through the mud. And I hope $30 million was worth what she is about to put herself and her family through. Because all of her dirty laundry is going to come out. The freak off details and all of that stuff is going to come out. The medical records, all of that stuff is going to come out. So I hope the $30 million was worth the embarrassment that is going to cause a lot of people that have been involved in these things. Because it's not just going to embarrass and hurt Diddy and his family. It's going to hurt a lot of people, including Cassie and her family. So I'm going to look over some of the charges. I'm going to look over the indictment and see where the holes are, because there are a lot of holes in this case. And now that Trump has got rid of this attorney that has brought these charges against Puffy, I don't know where they're going to go with this case, because it's weak already. It's flimsy. And Trump may be kind of sympathetic to Puffy's case, because he's had to go through this experience himself of being targeted. Once you gain enemies and stuff, you get targeted, and he's had to experience that. He is experiencing that. And if a white man, Donald Trump is the king of white privilege. And if he can be targeted and brought all these charges and have to be a victim of this lawfare, as they call it, or have to go through all this stuff. No, he's not a victim, but Trump he was a target. Trump was very much a target. Um, and Diddy's a target. So this new prosecutor that he brings on, that he appoints, they might just say, you know what, this case, we ain't got time for it. And just go ahead and get rid of it, because my understanding is that this Damien guy who's prosecuting Diddy and brought this indictment will be out of a job come January. So we'll see where that goes. But the denial of the bond is another thing. You know, you're going to deny this man bond and go and take his notes out of his cell and all this stuff, and just making it almost impossible for him to defend himself. But you're going to give other people bonds in the similar situations and got similar charges. You give them a $10 million bond. That's wrong. That's wrong. So we'll see how it goes. I'm not done with this, because I'm going to break this down into some serious details. But this case, from what I'm looking at now, like I said with the sex trafficking, if the government can prove that these incidents with the sex trafficking was transactional, and it was, if they can, they're going to have to prove that this was actually a straight up prostitute John, situation. And it was not a case where Diddy was being promiscuous. He had a lot of lovers, and he would give money to his lovers, and he would fly them out and take them on vacation with him and take them places and stuff and break them off a little change. If the government is able to prove that that was not the case, which I believe it was the case, that he just had a lot of people he dealt with sexually, and he would share his fortune and his drugs and his money with them. That's what I think it is. At the end of the day, Puffy lived a wild life. He was a promiscuous man. He was rich, powerful, promiscuous. He lived a wild life. He had many lovers, friends with benefits, people he just had sex with, and he financed the whole lifestyle. And he would break them off money or something, but it was not a straight up, prostitution type thing. I don't think that was the case at all. So that's going to be the thing. The government is going to have to prove his case. Is that it wasn't just, I'm having sex with these people and they're just sharing in on my lifestyle. We get high together, we have sex together, and all this other stuff. And with that criminal case, that's going to be the thing that they're going to have to be able to prove. Because I think that's what for the most part, that was happening in those situations, is that these people willingly went into those sexual relationships with Diddy. They indulged in the drugs willingly. They did not get the money that they thought that they were going to get. They didn't get the opportunities that they thought they were going to get. So now they're turning on it. They're saying, oh, I was raped, I was victimized. Nah. Those lawyers, I hope he's paying them pretty good money, because I hope those lawyers make them prove everything that they're saying. Make these so-called victims in these civil cases, make them prove everything they're saying. Also, with this criminal case with the government is going to have to prove that this was, and then Cassie, they may have offered Cassie some type of deal to where we will give you immunity. And, if you testify against him and say that he hired these people just for prostitution purposes, we'll give you immunity. But that's not the case at all. Like I said with the case with the Daphne Joy, this woman was friends with Kim Porter. She used to have birthday parties and invite Kim Porter's kids to the birthday party. She was personal friends and neighbors with Kim Porter. And she started sleeping with Puffy during the course of her relationship with Kim Porter. And after Kim Porter died, she continued that relationship with Puffy. But this woman, Daphne Joy, from my understanding, has been a known industry escort long before she met them. So just because she moved, it just so happened that, Daphne Joy got knocked up by another famous rapper. She was an opportunist. She slept with rich, powerful men. It was D. Ray Davis, the comedian. What's his name? Peter Nygaard or whatever his name. The rich, powerful white guy. Got caught up in some scandal himself. long before she met Diddy, she was involved in certain situations herself. And so she moved next door or in the same neighborhood as Diddy's baby mama. She struck up a relationship with them, and that relationship continued after Diddy's baby mama, Kim Porter, died. She continued the relationship with Diddy. That does not sound like a sex trafficking relationship to me. So, and then the other Asian lady, Gina, what's her name? That was a friends with benefits relationship. You thought you were going to be the main one. You thought you were going to move up a slot, but no, you played your position. Diddy let you know what your position was, and you thought that you were going to be in Carisha's spot, but Diddy let you know that no, you're not. You play your position, and I think that offended her, and that's the reason why she sued and brought a lawsuit against Puffy. Because if you think about it, Carisha said she didn't have no type of experience like that with Diddy. There was no beatings and all of this stuff that these other victims are claiming. She said that was not my experience at all. So, that's awful funny. But anyway, I'm rambling. But this case is weak. The case against Diddy is weak. And they say, well, the feds, they win 99.9% of the cases. Well, the only way is if they be able to just provide hardcore proof that Diddy ordered drugs, if they confiscated drugs from Diddy, that they can link the arson of Kid Cudi's car directly to Diddy, and not on some hearsay. That's all circumstantial evidence. What hardcore proof did you have that he did that? There's no child molestation charges whatsoever in the criminal case, so all of that is allegations. But there's so much pre-trial prejudicial publicity put out here that's going to make it very difficult for him to have an impartial jury. And that's the thing, that's the hurdle that he needs to get out from under. And I don't think that him having his children sing happy birthday to him, nothing illegal about that. They're doing whatever they can to fight off all this negative publicity that's being thrown at this case and thrown up against him. All these darts are being thrown at him, and this is the desperate attempts that they're making to fight this stuff off. There's nothing illegal about having that baby sing happy birthday. There's nothing illegal about having these kids make videos and stuff to let people know that he is not the monster that they are painting him out to be. Nothing wrong, nothing illegal. Anybody in this desperate situation where they're fighting for their life, you're going to do that. So I'm going to make another video about this because I just don't like this whole watching the whole world just gang up and beat up on a person when in fact this person has not, the person that they are beating up on, Sean Combs, they're trying to act like this man has lived high and mighty and had such a great life when he has not. This man has dealt with a lot of death and traumatizing experiences in his lifetime. And I'm not trying to feel sorry and play the violins for him. But you got to look at it from different angles. And not just from a position of envy and, oh, he had all this money and he made all the videos and he did this and that and lived this high life. But you ain't on the inside. You don't know what happened behind closed doors and what this man is going through. Especially now. Because wouldn't none of y'all trade places with him right now. So, and all them victims, those victims are not angels. They're not innocent in this. That's what y'all have to realize. Nobody is innocent in this. They all had a responsibility for what happened. And they all indulged and partook into this, including the celebrities that have abandoned him at his hour of need. This case, if it goes to trial, it's going to rip the covers off a lot of things. And I don't think it's right for just Diddy to go down and suffer behind this. Because he is not... A lot of this stuff was consensual. And I think a lot of it is just him being targeted at the time. And it's a financial money grab for a lot of these people. So, all right, y'all, let me stop. It's 45 minutes in. I'm going to go over the case, though, in detail and break it down on why I think it's weak and why I think it's strong. All right? Peace.